Hello, bad boys. If you want to win a $50 Amazon gift card, all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to enter our giveaway. Cutting weight is a common, if controversial, practice in mixed martial arts. The most dangerous thing for a fighter, next to their opponent, is making weight. Many fighters in the UFC follow a weight cut method in which fighters work to lose a lot of their water weight in a limited amount of time. This gives weight and size advantage to the fighter at the fight night when they get rehydrated. However, weight cuts are always grueling and brutal, but today, we will go through a list of the top 10 most dangerous weight cuts in UFC history. 1. Conor McGregor. When the UFC superstar started with his promotion, McGregor was competing at 145 pounds. However, the weight cut to featherweight was not so easy for the notorious. He's looked skinny his entire featherweight career, but the instance that really concerned UFC fans was when McGregor stood on the scale before Fight Night Boston against Dennis Silver. It looked like his skin was pasted onto his skeleton, with his face all sucked in. McGregor's interview with Ariel Helwani is still showing up all over the internet, where Conor McGregor was straight up looking like a ghost. 2. Renan Barão. Renan Barão, former bantamweight champion, faced some serious issues while making the 135 pounds limit. Barão, who had lost his title to TJ Dillashaw, was making an attempt to get it back in a rematch at UFC 177, but failed horribly. Barão had to cut around 30 pounds, and the weight cut was so brutal that he passed out in a sauna while sweating out water to make the bantam weight. He smacked his head on the bathtub when he blacked out, and was ultimately forced out of the fight. After this incident, Barão went on to fight in the featherweight division, which was still a challenge for him.
How can you be fine if you're blacking out while you're making weight? That's a very dangerous situation to find yourself in.
3. Darren Till. Darren Till has skyrocketed up to the 170 pounds division, but when it comes to making that welterweight limit, he has suffered a lot more than we could probably know. According to his coaches, Till walks around 205 pounds outside the camp, which is a huge out-of-camp weight for a welterweight. We got to see his struggle in some harrowing footage from 2018 before his main event against Stephen Thompson. While trying to make weight, Till can be seen collapsing and even temporarily losing his vision in the process. The gorilla failed to make the weight, but won the fight. 4. Yoel Romero. Yoel Romero started his MMA career as a light heavyweight in Strikeforce, but eventually found success in the middleweight. The Cuban Beast has a record of missing weight, as his older and more seasoned body was resisting getting rid of that extra pound. This cost him for the title twice. Yoel looked powerless after the weighing and missing weight. He could barely stand on his feet and was helped out by his coaches to walk backstage. Yoel's legacy would have been a lot different had it not been for his problems with weight cuts. 5. Max Holloway. Former featherweight champion Max Holloway is always known as a happy personality and for his love of sweets, which has definitely given him a few extra pounds. By his size, you might now know he is a big dude at featherweight and needs to get harsh in his body to cut that weight. The most horrific example of this came before his second title defense against Jose Aldo at the weigh-ins. Max, who is normally joyful and lighthearted, was seen silent, out of energy, and as if he just had his soul drained from his body.
That is a secret, though. Okay. But I can tell you how much I'm gonna weigh after the fight. I'm gonna have 30 pounds on me, right here and right here. We'll be walking out that bad boy, super shiny, so I can't wait.
6. Khabib Nurmagomedov. The weight cut is an important part of MMA fights, but when this process causes nearly fatal instances, then you should definitely have a serious look at this. Khabib Nurmagomedov is an absolute unit and a dominant lightweight champion. But the undefeated Dagestani was confronted with a life-threatening weight cut heading into UFC 209. This was one of many times the UFC has set a fight between the Eagle and Tony Ferguson. Khabib, who normally walks around at 190 pounds, was eventually hospitalized during cutting his extra pounds and took total responsibility for the failure of the main event.
No, now, brother, 11, brother. You talk about this 7 hours. I'm tired of you, brother. I want to go. I want to go move, brother, different room. 3 o'clock, you wake up. Hey, brother, you know what I think? I think you have to watch it.
Because you don't work out, I want to make sure you work out.
I work out. You're crazy, brother. I work out. I just landed from Russia, bro. 15-hour flight.
It's a Vulcan, no time.
Hey, no time.
7. Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee brings that shine and confidence every time he steps in the ring. And there was nothing going to stop him from the interim lightweight title fight against Tony Ferguson. Lee was bold enough to hide his staph infection from the Athletic Commission, but the spot was clearly visible on his chest during his weight cut. This was the toughest weight cut in Lee's entire career, which he says almost killed him. At last, he made the championship weight limit, but ultimately ended up losing the fight to the Boogeyman. He almost gassed out in the bout, which probably had a lot to do with his deadly weight cut just a few days prior.
Yeah. Got chicken, dude. Got chicken.
Appreciate you for that.
So yeah, I mean, but if the money's right and if it makes sense for me to go up to fight at 135, then yeah. I mean, the only time I get to like 142, 143 is I have a rack of ribs with a delicious and some stout. Okay, baby.
8. Cris Cyborg. Cris Cyborg is a gentle, kind-hearted person outside the cage, but when the doors are locked, she is pure terror to her opponents. She is oversized for the bantamweight division and walks around 170 pounds outside the camp, according to her coaches. However, the UFC instead made her fight at 140-pound catchweight bouts. As you might have guessed, to cut those excess pounds was no easy task for her, and that can be seen in a video of her UFC debut at UFC 198, where she was seen in agonizing pain, crying out loudly. This literally shocked MMA fans, revealing once again how difficult this task actually is.
The week I was there, cut weights 26 pounds.
26 pounds in what kind of time frame?
Like 2 days.
Recent interview we had with Cyborg, we asked her about her opinion on weight cutting.
You know, always when I meet some girls who start training or guys who start training and doing amateur fight, I always talk to them. And don't you make money enough for do that, and you just start learning about your body, you know, about eat healthy, eat, you know, your own diet, learning. You know, I know if at the beginning of my career, you know, it's you learn every fight, and I think it's nice if you have a lot of weights, you know, for you can see what's the best for you, and I think you really have.
9. Mizuto Hirota. Mizuto Hirota almost went out of the contest against Ronnie Yaya in 2013. The UFC veteran tried to make his featherweight debut, but nearly passed out on the scale due to having one of the scariest weight cuts ever seen. He also needed assistance just to walk over to the scales. Hirota was struggling to stand and began to sway backwards as if he would fall off of the platform. Luckily, he was helped off the stage by his coaches and fellow partners. He still made it to fight night, but ended up losing via unanimous decision, and the credit goes to the brutal weight cut. 10. Jessica Eye. Heading into her main event fight against Cynthia Calvillo in June 2020, Jessica Eye looked as if she had lost her soul. Jessica has a history of missing weight, but this time she weighed in at 126.25 pounds, which was not a big difference. Although this wasn't a bad miss, she still makes the list due to her horrifying demeanor on the scale. Despite having some time to cut the last bit of weight, Jessica was told she was done and could not cut anymore. These are very rare times that we see a fighter quit so close to the mark, which shows how brutal these weight cuts can really be. Making weight always tends to make controversies in MMA, but also seems to stick around for the long term. But due to its harsh reality and potential lethality to the fighters, organizations such as One Championship are using newer, healthier techniques to ease this process. Hopefully, the UFC would do the same in the coming years, and not just wait until the next bad example comes along.